y'all, so in this video I'm going to reacting to the dumbest, I don't know if it's 12 or 10, but it's dumbest horror movie decisions. I really do fuck with horror movies, I really do. I really like the, more of like a paranormal person than like a slasher type of, horror movie. But one thing that could really fuck the movie up is if somebody's just acting stupid as fuck. Just doing the dumbest shit. Shit that don't even make sense. Shit that if I was in this situation, you can't say exactly how you would react, but I know I wouldn't do that dumbass shit. They run into, they're hiding, but they running into, bruh. I don't know. Anyways, let's just get it.
Horror movie characters aren't really known for their lateral thinking, street smarts, or even plain old common sense, and that's kinda why we love them. So, in celebration of these fools, then I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 dumb mistakes that killed horror movie characters. Number 10, Cruz gets her head spun, Army of the Dead. Zack Snyder returned to our screen
this is on
last year with the
I
straight
almost
Netflix zombie horror Army of the Dead, his spiritual sequel of sorts to his original zombie smash Dawn of the Dead. With LA a post-apocalyptic wasteland, enter a ragtag team of zombie hunting mechanics, safecrackers, and pilots who attempt to break in and recover $200 million from a casino vault before it's too late. Among these fresh faces is supposed badass and first wave apocalypse survivor Maria Cruz. Pitched front and center for the majority of the film, she acts as a sort of counterpart and love interest to Dave Bautista's Scott Ward, but her utter inaction in the face of the undead leads to her untimely demise. In a truly shocking mid-film sequence, while the gang are trapped in the lower levels of the casino, the lift suddenly pings open and out come a swarm of zombies. Rather than jumping into action and drawing her weapon, however, Maria stands and just stares dumbfounded at the new arrivals, allowing one to grab her by the neck and, in one sharp twist, invert it. Like if only she had done something, anything, in the face of this horde. Number 9. Brendan gets carried away, fresh. While most of the entries on this list center around innocent victims, horror movie villains aren't averse from making a dumb mistake or two that gets them killed. Case in point, the deranged Brendan from Fresh. This flick is all about old Brendan and his side hustle of kidnapping women and selling their meat to high-paying clientele. The title itself comes from the fact that Brendan keeps his victims alive so that the meat can be as fresh as possible, cutting off bit by bit with each procedure. His latest victim, Noah, he actually falls for, though. After cutting off and selling her buttocks, yes, really, Brendan takes a liking to Noah, inviting her out on dates as she plans on winning his trust to escape. He stupidly really thinks that she loves him back, and as such at one point allows her to go down on him with, let's say, bitey results. This severely injures Brendan, as you can probably imagine, and allows Noah the chance to free her friends and escape. Later on, the women kill him, and we can't say that he didn't deserve such a brutal death. Number 8, Mika taunts the spirits, Paranormal Activity. Paranormal Activity shows the struggles of young couple Mika and Katie using their real-life actor names as the demon that has haunted Katie throughout her life sets up shop in their house. Filming and the night ensues, and we are treated to various door-slamming, kitchen-shaking spooks presented from inherently limited and unrevealing angles. Now, far be it from us to belittle the actions of anyone not willing to take ghosts and the paranormal too seriously, but given the apparent evidence of his eyes and ears, see the door-slamming, kitchen-shaking that I just mentioned, Mika's decision to screw around with the spirits is far from advisable.
Going against received wisdom and tackling the situation without a demonologist or any kind of professional help, Mika antagonizes the spirit, taking a lot of the happenings with a pinch of salt, and even buying a Ouija board to communicate with it.
This all leads to the spirit taking matters into its own hands, possessing Katie, and killing him at the film's conclusion before throwing his body at the camera. Well, depending on which ending you get. However, maybe, just maybe, he could have walked away from this, but we'll never know. Number 7, Sally monologues with the Maniac, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Built on the bones of a cult horror hit, 2022's Texas Chainsaw Massacre brought Old Man Leatherface out to play once again. This time with a cast of absolutely positively imbecilic millennials and Gen Zers to mo.
This movie pissed me off so bad. This had Jacob Lattimore in it, didn't it? This movie pissed me off so bad. I wanted all them mofos to die because they was pissing me off.
his way through. While it is hard to pick out a single mistake out of the many that get these characters killed, it's actually
they was
series
so
original
dumb.
Sally Hardesty whose rookie mistake really takes the biscuit here. Finally receiving the news that she has been awaiting of Leatherface's return, Sally springs into action with her revenge plans and
It just seemed
shotgun
like,
it.
and honestly, it just seemed like kind of like a copy of what they were doing with Halloween and how she needed revenge because he killed all her friends and blah 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 blah, and waiting 855 fucking years to see him again and whatever the fuck.
Sally springs into action with her revenge plans and shotgun in tow. Only when she actually has Leatherface cornered with nothing standing in her way, she just does nothing, monologues a bit, and then lets him go. Like, that would have been fine if the point here was to say that she froze and she no longer wanted him killed. But literally minutes after this scene, she's chasing him outside, shooting at him with the shotgun anyway. Of course, she dies, but why did she not just take the shot earlier? Like, there's no reason for this. Am I dumb? Am I missing
She really in
something?
love
Let me
with
know
him.
in the comments. Number 6, Megan fake kills
never
herself,
seen
Sorority Row.
this.
In 2009's trashy slasher Sorority Row, Megan enlists the help of her sorority sisters to pull a prank on her boyfriend Garrett. Megan fakes her own death during sex, and Garrett and her friends bring Megan to a lake where, in the process of dumping her body, Garrett buries a forearm wrench deep into Megan's chest. Now, while some may be inclined to place the blame for this on Jessica, who convinces Garrett that the air needs to be let out of Megan's lungs so that she sinks to the bottom of the lake and stays there, this elaborate prank is a weird one to begin with. I mean, sure, Garrett was cheating on her, and sure, she wanted to teach him a lesson, but despite the concern of earnestly convincing someone, never mind your partner during sex, that you have died, the sheer stupidity of such a move is beggars belief. Like, surely exposing him in a Mean Girl style comedy montage
to
might
say,
have
they
been the
could've
better
done so many
option
different
than
things
going to
with
such weird extremes where you're incredibly vulnerable. Number 5, Lorraine bails on Maxine X. Ty West's brand new Slasher X has recently hit cinemas, ushering in a nostalgia for the genre's classics with a 1970s setting, plenty
feel
of
like I've
gore,
seen the
and
trailer
as many
for
poor
this.
choices in rural Texas, shacking up in a barnyard cabin led by a kooky older couple who have more than a few skeletons in their closet. Things, as you might have guessed, quickly get out of hand. The couple catch their guests in the act, and soon the blood begins to pour as the cast fight for their lives. Among the victims and the final 2 survivors are the timid church mouse Lorraine and the starry-eyed stripper Maxine. Against all odds, Maxine manages to slip the clutches of her pursuers and make her way up to their house, where Lorraine is being held captive. Once freed, however, Lorraine blames Maxine for the atrocities befalling them, and then proceeds to abandon her co-star and make a
That-
runner for the door.
when
Apart
did
from the
they-
fact that not splitting up is
Ugh.
like slasher survival 101, to do it when you know full well the killers are lurking outside is tantamount to just suicide. Needless to say, Lorraine barely has the door open before she's murdered dead. Number 4, Addison fists the
Literally.
Razor Box, Saw 2.
Caught me by
The Saw franchise is riddled with questionable characters.
I don't like these movies. Like I said, when it's just like pointless, well, like it's just like a serial killer that just like wants to make it the most gory things happen. Don't like that shit, bro. Like when somebody had to, what did they have to do? They had to fill like a cup, the blender up with blood, so they blended their arm. Like that shit's not entertaining to me. That was too much. The Conjuring and the Nun and shit is entertaining. Alien shit is entertaining, but fucking, I don't know. I don't
Characters making questionable
Personally, I
decisions,
don't.
but perhaps none more so than Saw 2's Addison Cordair. Trapped in a spooky murder house by Jigsaw,
Even
after
that
separating
age,
herself from the group,
oh
never a
God.
smart move in a horror film as we've just established, Addison declines the opportunity for some critical thinking when faced with a clear box containing 2 handholds and the antidote that she needs to survive a serious dose of toxic nerve gas. Without listening to the tape left for her, Addison
I don't
goes
know.
ahead and jams her hand up there, spilling the antidote and becoming trapped by razor blades slicing into her wrist. So, what's her solution? Well, it's to jam the second hand in right beside it. This
Oh my God.
didn't have to be her end though. She could have just reached over with one arm and pulled back the blades to free herself before using the freed hand to push the blades out from under the other side. Granted, she's clearly not thinking straight at this point. I've heard a nerve gas will do that to you, but this is a stupid decision nonetheless. Number 3, Milburn plays Kuchiku with
yeah,
the hammer
that's a
pea,
good movie.
Prometheus. A lot of the entries on this list so far are understandably dumb. We enjoy them for that reason. This one is just bad writing and has been ridiculed as such. But let's
Which
back up.
one?
In 2012, the crew
Oh,
of the
I think I
Prometheus
know.
boldly went
They
where no
wanted to-
alien film had gone before, into the far reaches of the quasi-prequel.
exactly
During
what
their
they're gonna
first
say.
venture out to the mysterious moon, LV-223,
I think they're gonna say when they took off their like suits, or when they didn't get back to the ship in time.
the mononymous, in a universe-renowned biologist, Milburn, ignores the rules of nature and hostile environments and decides to get cutesy with an unidentified life form. One thing leads to another, and soon he's trying to tackle a hammerpede, something of a precursor to the infamous facehugger. Needless to say, it bites him, wraps his arm, and breaks into his spacesuit, leading not only to the worm-choking death of Milburn, but the far more cautious crewmate Feifel too. And like, listen, I'm no scientist, but I probably would react with more caution should I ever stumble across a weird alien freak like this, and I have no
remember this one.
qualifications. Number 2, Dewey delays the double tap scream. I know, I mentioned this a lot in videos recently, but I swear after this one, I'm over it. I'm moving on. But until then, with its tongue planted firmly in its cheek, Scream 2022 deals up another slice of meta horror, simultaneously affirming and subverting many of the genre and series tropes. Amongst these is the long-standing rule of not only the slasher playbook, but the horror genre as a whole. The double tap. Once the killer is down, execute a sharp, swift final blow, ideally to the head, to ensure that they stay there.
Just
After
tickle him.
facing and apparently
imagine?
beating the killer in the
you
local
imagine
hospital,
tickling
Dewey
that man?
declares that he has to do just that. And that's smart, right? Well, it would be if he just got on with it, but rather than chucking a few bullets into his pistol and blasting away from a distance, Dewey does the hero walk right up to the killer and then pauses long enough to allow himself to become distracted and skew it like a kebab. Though the character survived 9 stab wounds throughout the series, this time he definitely ain't coming back. Number 1, Eric takes a leaf out of the Dead's book, Evil Dead. In 2013's underrated
Yep.
Evil Dead reboot,
Yep.
a new gang
I
of
know
20-somethings, including David Allen and his sister Mia, retreat to a cabin in the woods
Does
for a
she
weekend
have withdrawals?
intervention. Amongst them is high school teacher Eric, whose patience begins to wane pretty early into their days-long retreat. Searching for something to do and a little respite from the group's infighting, Eric takes to the basement where he finds cat corpses strung from the ceiling and a mysterious devilish book. Now, even in the Evil Dead universe, they must have cabin in the woods films, right? Like, for the average Joe in any similar situation, this surely spells trouble, not story time, and especially so when isolated in such unfamiliar territory miles away from society's aid. Well, apparently not for Eric. He takes it upon himself to cut away the barbed wire binding the book and conduct a little,
See,
like,
if it's closed like that, if it's away, if it looks like you shouldn't touch it, why not just not touch it? I don't know. I'm not that curious. I don't give a fuck. Even if I hear a little noise and it doesn't make sense why I'm home alone and the refrigerator door just opened and closed. Oh well, I'm gonna either get the fuck out or ignore that shit. But I'm not about to be fucking captain. Figure the fuck what's going on. I don't care. I mean, I care, but I don't. Not investigating. I'm out.
reading from the blood-stained pages out loud. Like, I don't know about you guys, but when I like find a book, I don't just start reading it out loud. I think my partner would really
And it
hate
wasn't in
that. She
English,
wouldn't
or
go
was
for it, is
it?
all I'm saying.
There was one that
Especially
wasn't in
when it's a
English,
demon
right?
book like this. Anyway, with a brief incantation, he unleashes the demonic spirits and dooms himself and his friends to a night of murder, maiming, and the awakening of the so-called abomination. So yeah, cheers, Eric. Thanks.
And even like I watched the new one, the Evil Dead Rise one. Even like the boy that went and hopped into the hole when he shouldn't have. It was like a fucking earthquake or some shit, and he hopped in the hole, got the book, brought it, whatever. He was stupid too, but at least he was a kid. Like at least he was like a teenager that just was, you know. But he don't get a pass either, for real. There are so many more dumb decisions. So many dumb decisions he should be making. Well, it looks like there are a bunch of videos on it. So I actually really enjoyed this. I need to watch some of these movies. I've only seen about half of them, but yeah, this was very interesting and very entertaining, so I fuck with it. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok. I'll see y'all in the next one.